Your upbringing makes you feel so strongly against corruption. Tell me about it. How did you grow up as a child?
I come from a very moderate background where you need to fight for everything to survive. And for me, I think this whole corruption fight came about very actively when I got to the hospital, when I realized that there were a lot of things going on. There are a lot of activities, and people were dying as a result of certain inertia, certain reluctance on the part of some individuals to do certain things. And these are lives. You lose it forever. And sometimes when the person dies, it's not just about the person who has died, but the tons of family who depended on that person and the life after, the kid the person is leaving behind, and somebody sitting somewhere who is not even privy to some of these things, because there are a lot of people within the political space chasing money, and they think life is all about money. If you come to the hospital, you see people who have it all
begging to live one day more.
They will ask you, am I going to live for the next hour? You have to be very candid and bold enough and tell them, say, no, you can't make it. To make peace with your God before you go. So when you get exposed to some of these realities, trust me, money will never be your priority. It's good. Money is good because we need it. But you see, to have it at the back of your mind, that for money to become a driving force, that you get it at all costs. A friend of mine in the UK quite recently called me. He said in his entire life he has never been to the hospital, but he went to the hospital and he was diagnosed with a certain disease and he got exposed to certain things. Then he realized that, hey, he now has a different perspective about life altogether. Life isn't all about money. So sometimes some of these decisions are fueled by ignorance. So for me, I was very lucky enough to get exposed to some of these things at the early stage. That life isn't all about money. It is about creating comfort for other people. People may be disadvantaged. There are people who may not have the opportunities you have.
Where did you grow? Goes on and on. Did this happen in Ghana too?
Oh, exactly. That is the playbook. That has always been the playbook. Look at all the state-owned enterprises in this country. None of them is making profit. These are debt enterprises, creating a load of debt. Today we can mention that of ECG. We can mention even Cocoa Board. We can mention almost all the state-owned enterprises, including Bank of Ghana, an institution that is supposed to provide monetary policies and plans for the whole financial space. That enterprise is running at a loss.
How is
unprecedented level.
How is
because
that possible?
Some people decided to take foolish decisions and they felt they were not amenable to wisdom, they were not answerable to people, because when some of these decisions were being made, people were vocal, people were speaking against it. And
even though the government has changed, we see nothing happening.
Exactly, that is the point. Maybe it may be too early days yet, but I'm sure something has to be done, because some of these crimes can never go unanswered. Because you see, the reason why Ghanaians voted for change, they wanted accountability. So that particular thing must kick in now. People must answer for their crimes. And in a state where people go scot-free when they do some of these evil deeds, that country will never advance. Let me take you to South Korea. Last week, the sitting president has been removed from office. He has been impeached by the court for some decision that he took. Because in December, he declared a martial law, which was deemed unconstitutional. So Parliament passed law or a bill to impeach him. And about last week, the Constitutional Court of South Korea has impeached the president. Actions must have consequences. But in our part of the world, that is not the case. People commit atrocity crimes that have consequences, long-lasting impact on the life of the people in a negative fashion, yet they walk free. The gentleman at Bank of Ghana virtually turned Bank of Ghana into a printing press. He was using it to print money on a daily basis. People were speaking. He breached all the constitutional provisions because there are requirements.
Which gentleman are you talking about?
Addison, the former Bank of Ghana governor. He was printing cash. He turned the place into a printing press. Printing cash night, day, every morning. He was printing cash.
On whose instruction?
On the president. They were doing this to finance the inefficiencies and the atrocities of government, because the government went overboard, taking foolish decisions. You need money to finance.
And the BS that goes on is after they have done all this, they will have somebody come and say, why did you say this about me? Why did you say this about me?
That is the problem. That is, you see, we have weaponized the entire political space in such a way that People are no longer interested in the conversation anymore. We are rather interested in personalities. And the personalities, where do they stand across the political divide? Do they align with me ideologically, politically? Then let me go and defend them. We don't debate issues anymore. So these people have the freedom to do whatever that they want to do, and they get away with it. So I think we need to institute certain measures. I've been preaching that in the state, a country cannot show mercy, a country cannot show weakness, because human beings, naturally, we are evil. If you show mercy, people will take advantage. If you show that kind of mercy, people will do the worst things and they will come back and apologize.
The Fama Nyame principle.
That kind of nonsense. So for me, I think we need to establish the conventional red lines in the sand and tell people, say, hey, actions have consequences. If you go beyond this, these are the consequences that await you. The state cannot appear to be weak. The state cannot appear to be offering mercy card to people.
So you're printing money. We don't know where all those monies went.
Yes.
Because we did not even have enough gas to ensure that we can provide electricity for the people. Where did all this money go?
People pocketed them. That is a simple explanation.
To do what?
Because if you look at the inflation numbers... So we see when you put a fool in power and they are stealing, they just steal the way they think. Yes. So you have this insatiable greed. The greed is insatiable, meaning you can never satisfy it. But yet they are determined to satisfy it. That is where the foolishness comes in. So they may steal and steal what they don't even need. Look at this Adubo Ahin's case.
Which of the Dubois?
The recent one.
Now, me pacho woman me anu papa ni MPP ni no running for president now.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh. They wanted to create generational wealth for themselves. Where one person will steal and will take care of the family for the next 100 years.
And then other families will starve for the next 10,000 years.
And they see your kid and they'll tell you, say, help Papa Mobra, that kind of nonsense.
He is a bold voice of choice, representing the youth of Ghana and all of Africa. He speaks truth to power. He's insightful, delightful, and when he speaks with intellect and integrity. He is Ivan Che Innocent, and he is my special guest on Master of the Game, the program where we bring you the movers, shakers, icons, and legends of our beloved motherland Ghana. So, Ivan, you are a student not only of public health but also of history. Yeah. Looking at pre-independence in Ghana and the independence of Ghana and the vision of the first president of Ghana, who do you see in Ghana as a leader who has surpassed that vision?
I think post-independence, the energy and the kind of enthusiasm with which we secured independence, there were a lot of hope. And Ghana was a model. Ghana was seen as the model of democracy then, because we were the first country in the sub-Saharan Africa to secure independence, went ahead to inspire about 32 other countries in the next 10 years to secure independence. So everybody was looking at us, the shining star. And Nkrumah started very well, because he had a plan, he had a master plan, because to develop you need to industrialize, and that was the policy that he adopted by setting up factories and industries across the country. Because anywhere in the world where we see countries developing, industries must play quite a crucial role, and for industry to thrive you need to also till the land to be able to produce the product that will be needed for some of these things. So he had a particular master plan, set in motion a number of factories. The whole Tema was created as an industrial city. But
that's where I was born.
Yes, but today it's a residential area. People are killing themselves for a portion of land, but the gentleman saw it and had a vision that that place should be just for industries. That is why he built the motorway. So when you're on the way, you don't stop anywhere, straight to work. After that, you come home. But today, Tema has become something different. You understand? So that is the vision. Set up these factories, whole lot. When you do that, you boost the economy. Or you are able to export, and you get some money, and your currency will be stable. And in recent time, that is the policy China has adopted. China realized that they have the numbers. So how do we leverage our numbers for economic gain? They realized that production is key. So they decided to produce things for themselves and ship some outside.
It is interesting, if I may interject for a second.
Okay.
To see how people are very happy to praise China for what they're doing.
Yes.
Happy to praise Singapore and Malaysia for what they're doing. Even though they may see similarities in exactly what Kwame Nkrumah did.
Yeah.
Yet do not want to give Kwame Nkrumah the credit for his vision.
Yeah, that's the problem. And Nkrumah's popularity transcended beyond Africa, and I think he had some even engagement with the Chinese government, then Russia and other. Nkrumah was a global icon, so I think that is the strategy some of these countries have adopted. So for China, even they can deliberately depreciate their yuan just to
boost sales of their products.
Exactly, because you can, as a Chinese person, you may not have enough dollars to go and buy an iPhone, so your only choice is to buy Huawei, and that benefit the country. You understand? So that was the plan. But here, all the industries that were set up by Kwame Nkrumah, that particular vision, when Nkrumah's government was torpedoed, wasn't just Nkrumah that was torpedoed, wasn't just his government, his vision was trashed. Even books written by him and the factories that he built, everything has gone down. And today, Ghana has become some kind of an embarrassment among countries. We gave them that this thing. That
so look, I mean, I'm looking at it, and I think it was diabolical.